What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hamlin, aka the Laptop Legend, and in today's video I want to prepare you for tomorrow in the stock market because holy kashmoli flamboli, we are having some crazy days here. There was a stock today that went up over 10,000% in one day. That is not an exaggeration. That is 10000, I think. I forget how many zeros are in 10,000, but there's a lot of zeros, and that can add a lot of zeros to your bank account, if you know what I'm saying. There was also a stock that went up over 500% at one point today. I sold it at $3.30, and it went all the way above $10. Definitely missed out on that one. TSNP, my goodness, this one had the most beautiful dip buy off of a crazy panic, and if you weren't prepared for it, clearly you're not a subscriber, so make sure you subscribe, turn on post notifications, and like this video if you haven't already, because I'm always talking about these plays. I nailed this one. I definitely underestimated how high the bounce was going to go. It was a little bit choppier than I'm used to, so I didn't take as many gains as I could, but I mean, I still timed the bottom pretty much perfectly because I knew it was coming and I was prepared for it. MITI had the pullback that we were expecting. It actually pulled back a little bit farther than I expected and bounced a little bit harder than I expected, but overall, that is exactly what we were looking for, so I'm going to talk about that today. And then, you know, there's going to be some stocks. I digress a little bit, but anyways, let's go to my computer and let's look at the charts and explain what I think you guys need to be watching for tomorrow because you do not want to miss out on these gains. All right, guys, so I'm here on my computer and this is the daily chart for TSNP, and it actually surprisingly held up pretty well at open, so we didn't get that immediate panic, even though there was definitely some selling volume. You can see these candles right here, but it really didn't crack down. And then the buying came in right after that. I decided not to chase this one, and it cracked here, but bounced pretty hard, but made a lower high, and then after that, faded off, tried to bounce, faded down. I still hadn't touched it at this point. But when I saw all these red candles in a row, man, oh my goodness, my mouth started salivating. I was getting out my bib. I was getting my fork and knife ready. I was hungry for this dip buy. We've been waiting for this for so long. You see this many red candles in a row, man? To me, this says bye, 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 bye. And I actually got executed 10,000 shares at, I think it was 0.2737 or something like that. So, 0.2737. Yeah, so that, I got pretty much the very bottom on this one. And if you zoom in a little bit, I was being super, super conservative because I think it was because MITI was selling off at that time as well, and I think I was a little concerned that everything was going to keep selling off, so I actually sold. I think I sold here, and then I rebounded back in on this one with smaller size because I ran out of buying power, and I ended up selling the rest up in here. So I really didn't do this nearly as well as I could have. I definitely messed that one up. You can see I only closed in 77 on this, so definitely could have done better. But I mean, absolutely nailed it. Congrats if you held it all the way up here. It was definitely a little bit choppy in here, so can be a little bit tough, but I mean, it went all the way above 31 and never dropped below that entry point, so if you got in there, you never would have been negative even if you held your position the entire time. But this is what I look for, man. Anytime you see really steep red candles, to me, it's normally a sign that you should be buying, so definitely be looking for this tomorrow. If we go look at the chart overall, we can see that it actually still closed above the high of that green candle there. So I mean, I would say that that's potentially a good sign, but also, you know, today is Wednesday, and the investor call, I actually just got the email. I'll throw it up on the screen here, but Humble TSNP Q1 shareholder call. Thank you for signing up for the Humble call on Friday, January 22nd at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that is going to be 5 p.m. Eastern Time, or 1 hour after the market closes on Friday. And honestly, I would be surprised if this does not tank before then, just because people don't like holding through calls, but you never know. I mean, there's an expectation of good news coming up, so maybe people want to hold through it. Honestly, I don't know what it does at this point. I have really no good predictions. It might have made a higher, I keep saying that. It might have made a lower high right here versus this high here, so it might come back down, especially if there's no new news. But the billboard, actually, we can confirm the billboard was up in Mexico. I'll put a picture of that up as well. And apparently you can believe everything you see on the internet and in YouTube comments. Albert Einstein was wrong. But in this case, there might be some good news coming. They might have actually launched the app in Mexico. I've heard rumors of that. I'm not sure. So we're going to find out. Again, tune in on Friday because I'm going to be doing a summary of that investor call. But I'm really excited, man. I'm really excited to see what happens with this stock. If it tanks again, if we get a bunch of red candles, I'll be dip buying. I can't make a prediction really besides that about what it's going to do. MITI, this is the next one that I want to talk about. And, oh, not TSNP MITI. That is not one ticker. So you can see here, actually, let me go 3 months. Yeah, so I mean, we got pretty much what was expected. It just went a little bit further. And this one is on me. So you can see I actually closed out 620 in profits today. And part of that was because I was one of the fools who sold some MITI right at the bottom there, right before this big bounce. And for me, this was to manage my risk and limit my downside, because now, even if it goes to 7 cents and I hold my remaining half of my shares, I will still be positive overall on this stock. And I cannot mentally handle being negative on a trade that I was up $8,000 on. And I think you need to know your own limits and understand the limits of stocks, because nothing has changed at all for this play long term. But when you get a stock that goes from just over 2 cents all the way up to almost 25 cents, that is over a 1,000% gain. The last news was released on the 15th. All of this run-up has been on no news. So the fact that it is up this much, I should have taken some profits when I was double my position, because I could have sold half, at 22, and then I would have had basically free shares for the rest of them. So no matter what they did, I was going to be profitable on the trade. But I chose not to do that. And because of that, I put myself in a sticky situation. So when we get down here and it's getting really close to my entry, I'm thinking, all right, man, I don't know. I might need to take some off up here just in case it drops to my entry. So if I have to cut at my entry, I'm not going to be negative on the trade. Because again, it absolutely destroys your mental sanity to lose money on a trade you were up on. And again, nothing has changed long term, but I need this buying power for trading other stocks. So I can't tie it up and then watch it slip away against me if it's not going to be the best place for it, if that makes sense. So I mean, if there's no news, I could potentially see this slipping back under. But it just depends. It really depends what it does, man. It depends. So this one, I did not look to dip buy this one, even though there were a lot of red candles, because I still felt like the price action was just kind of weird, man. I don't know if it's the market makers pushing the price lower to cover their shorts from before. Maybe that's what it was. I'm not sure. But we did have a nice bounce here, and got to see what it continues to do. If there's no news, I wouldn't really expect too much out of this at this point. I mean, again, the CEO bought shares at 7 cents, so I would consider that probably to be the absolute bottom that this is going to be. I mean, it might consolidate in this area. It might consolidate in this area. I could see that, or maybe it just bounces back off, because that is a pretty big wick. Normally, wicks that big indicate a reversal of the trend. So I'm going to be watching. At this point, I'm holding all my shares. If it goes down under 10 cents, I will be loading up. And if I get more buying power, I may add if it comes back down there. But I'm probably not going to be selling unless this gets extremely overextended again for now. So, I mean, I'm probably just letting this ride. And that is a better management of risk for me, because, again, I can't let myself go negative on a position that I was positive 8,000 on. So, yeah, let's go over some other stocks that I want you guys to look at. So, BLSP, this one is just a good example of the fact that we get some really good dip buys when stocks get really overextended. So, remember, this stock went up an absolute ton, and then it went up, I guess it gapped up today, and then it just had a huge panic off that gap up, faked out a bounce here, bounced here, and then double bottomed and had a really nice bounce. So these are the types of plays I love to look for. Again, I could not trade this one since it's a pink sheet, but this is the type of thing that you guys need to be looking for. I just love it, man. We literally had so many dip buys today. INIS, this could actually have another dip buy. BLSP could tomorrow because it's still up a lot. Here was a nice dip buy. Morning panic, you dip buy here. And even though that's not, that's the same movement as TSNP, man. You dip buy at 18 cents, you can sell in 2 minutes at 20 cents. That's all you need. BILZF, this kind of did as expected. It did not gap up. It basically opened right where it was, and then just had a big sell-off, and then a big bounce off of that. So, I mean, there was still a morning panic, but probably better that I didn't overnight this one. And at this point, probably not going to be playing this one too much more unless we get another morning panic. But It trades kind of weird, and the volume's pretty thin. You can see only 1.4 million shares all day long. Very choppy towards the end, so probably won't be looking at that one, but just wanted to give you guys an update. Definitely could have had a nice dip buy on that one. ATVK, this is another beautiful one. This dip buy is insane. Look at that volume right there. I mean, that is such a perfect confirmation that that is where you dip. I mean, it's perfect. Ton of red candles in a row, and a ton of buying volume right at the bottom there. Beautiful dip buy. So many dip buys. Potentially could have another one tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. REOS. This one, is this the one that went? Yeah, this is the one that went absolutely insane today. This is the one that is up. It was up 10,000% at one point today. If you look here, yesterday? I don't know if trading was suspended on this or what. I guess I should have done my research on that a little bit more, but you can see here, I mean, the last time this traded, it was at 0.00 whatever, and today it went all the way up to 39 cents, man. So this one could potentially see a big panic tomorrow, and then a nice dip off of that. That's what I'm looking for. I would not chase this one. I missed an entry in this area, and it would have been nice, but I already felt like I was chasing, so you got to be so careful with stocks like this because you never know what they're going to do. OBLN. This is one that you can see I locked in 27 profit on, and again, I was buying it. In this area, bro. I was buying it in this area, and looking for it to. Well, let me zoom out a little bit. I was looking for this to break those pre-market highs, and that is such a good trade. I just wasn't sure if it was going to reject. So, I mean, I think I bought in this area, and I was thinking, all right, this can probably go. And then I ended up taking some here when it showed some weakness, and then I ended up getting out, and I didn't want to chase. I think I traded a little bit more, but I didn't trade it super well. Didn't give enough room to run, if that makes sense. Had my stop a little bit too tight. And this one just absolutely squeezed shorts because it looks like it's faking. It looked like it's breaking down, so a lot of shorts got in really early on this one. And then it just kept squeezing, man. Makes higher highs. You can see higher highs. Looks like it's breaking down. Like, I mean, that looks pretty ugly, right? If you're short, you're like, dang, I want to get in here. Psych. Broke up above $10, man. It pretty much double topped right there at, yeah, it literally double topped right at 1077. So I think shorts were happier on that. I think this one literally dropped $2 in like 5 seconds or something like that. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Haha! I beat the sneeze. I have won. I bested it. All right, yeah. So this one, definitely be watching it tomorrow because I would probably expect the same type of pattern we've been seeing. I would expect a morning panic and then a bounce. That is what I would look for on this. I would definitely look for dip buy. Shorts will probably cover some of their shares. If there's a huge panic and then a bounce off of that, they will probably be covering there, so it could bounce a decent amount. It might just fade all day, but, you know, I expect a panic. That is what I'd be looking for. And maybe if it holds its gains, it keeps squeezing. You never know. You really never know. GRTS. I mean, this one went absolutely crazy. You could see this one. God, I mean, this one went stupid, man. This one went all the way up in the 30s. Went a little bit higher than I expected. I was expecting 30, 32, that area, but it went all the way up as high as right above 35, and then shorts won, and it just, you know, tanked off of that. And this one consolidated. It's still up a ton. Absolutely a ton. So this one, again, just look for the favorite pattern, man. Don't overcomplicate things. You don't need to learn 50,000 patterns. Learn one pattern, master it, and that's all you need to make some consistent profits every single day. So I would be looking for another panic off of this one. Be looking for some dip buys. If it holds up, man, I mean, it might continue to spike, and I probably wouldn't chase this one. But if it panics, look to buy it. That is what I'm saying. CLSN. We got a lot of good stocks today, man. CLSN. This one went pretty wild after hours. It was able to do a U-shaped breakout and break out through the high of day, and now it's up here. So be watching this one in pre-market. I'm not sure what it's going to do, but we've seen a ton of multi-day runners. BNGO is just one example. ZOM is another example. So anything that's up, I say this every day, but anything that is up in after hours is probably going to be doing something interesting the next day. I don't really have a good plan for this one because I need to see how the action plays out. But ideally, you know, in terms of buying a breakout, we could get this U-shaped pattern, maybe have it spike up more in pre-market, spike up like this, come back down, and then break out past that U. Same thing here. So I mean, if I draw a little line just so you guys can see, make that U, break out past the U. My entry is typically in this area because that way I can risk off of the lows here, and I have better risk reward than if I buy the breakout right here. That's just my preference because sometimes it double tops and fades off. So just be looking for that. If it spikes up an absolute ton, it might have a panic dip buy. Those are my two favorite patterns. So just be looking for that. STCN, this is another one that we want to check out for tomorrow. And the reason is it's because it held its gains really well. So it spiked up this morning super early. And then we had some nice movement today. Like intraday, we had a little bit of selling off, some big spikes. But here's the thing. It closed pretty much near the highs, and this consolidation leads me to believe that there's probably going to be some continuation tomorrow, just based on how it's going. So I am very interested to see what this does tomorrow. If it continues to run, definitely look to get in, and this is the type of play where you could risk off of VWAP if you're going for high of day breaks. That is probably how I would play this one. So if it breaks the high of day, be risking off of VWAP, or if it breaks through VWAP, you can enter a little sooner and then risk, if it holds VWAP, that's where you stay in. So just be looking for that. Definitely the play that I would be looking for on that one. DARE, this is one I talked about yesterday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so you can see this one spiked up in after hours and had a morning spike, but then kind of faded off, but consolidated and held it all day. So this is the type of thing that could see some continuation tomorrow. So just be watching for that. I'm inventing tongue twisters. See some continuation. Peter Piper picked a pail of pickled peppers. All right, AVGR. This is one I also talked about. And yeah, I mean, it's still holding up its gains. And that's what we like to see for these continued runners. It's been going for a couple days now. I could easily see this breaking past these highs. So look for the break past the highs. Honestly, I might try to buy the breakout past those highs. But if it happens, it might happen during pre-market. So it might set new highs. Might curl back down, so you can buy the curl and then look for the break of those pre-market highs. That's what I expect on this one, but have it on your watch list. SENS, also talked about this one before. This one had a nice, I guess there was a little dip right at open, but then a nice spike out of that, but it instantly popped off of that. I think shorts just got in heavy here, and then it had a big tank down here. Again, you see a bunch of red candles. It's normally a buy signal, and had a nice bounce off of that area. And it closed near the low of the day, so I would expect this to continue bleeding tomorrow personally. But you never know. Could potentially still be in play. If we get a ton of red candles, might look to dip buy this one. Again, that is my favorite pattern of all time. KODK. This one was spiking up, actually. I forget what they had some news today. I'm not positive what it is. Honestly, again, I don't really care that much about news. But you can see, I mean, it's up from $9 up all the way to $10.40. This one, I'm not sure if the volatility is really there that much. I mean, I guess it gapped up a ton this day. I mean, maybe it's there. Maybe we could see some. Oh, you know what? No, I was wrong. This is actually a former supernova. I underestimated this one. Yeah, this is why you always have to check the chart history. This is one that went in, I guess, over the course of 2 days. I mean, it went from, or maybe 3 days, it went from $2 all the way up to $60. So this one can definitely run. If it breaks out past these areas, man, past that probably 1250 area, this thing can definitely run. So be on the lookout for that. We've had stocks that absolutely surprise us and go way, way harder than we expect. I already talked about several of them, GRTS, OBLN, just to name a few. So be ready for that. I definitely think that one could go ham. Any former supernova is one that is always on the watch list because it has the potential to run. ACY, if I look at the 1 year, I mean, you can see there's several days where it gets like a big spike out of nowhere, and that's literally just because it's a former supernova. So like, it always goes off. Anything that once spiked from $2 to $60 is always going to be on day traders' watch list. So they're always going to look to be buying it. So just keep an eye out for those stocks. I think that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hopefully you found it helpful. Again, look for those dip buys. That is my favorite pattern. When you see a ton of red candles, it's normally a buy signal, but don't underestimate how far these things can drop. Just because there's 5 red candles in a row does not mean that the stock cannot keep dropping, especially if it's already up 500%, 1,000%. So use caution when you're doing this because you can easily blow up your account. If it falls, you add more. If it falls, you add more. Suddenly you're looking at a huge loss. So typically I don't like averaging down if they go against me. I prefer to cut. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you made it to the end, I don't know what to say to you. Thank you. Let's get coffee sometime. Maybe we can have a meetup. That'd be cool. I'm losing it. All right, I'll see you in the next one. You know the drill. Until then, let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.